Good day, you're welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Tinoade Salami. The war against the Boko Haram terrorist group is far from over as the military has engaged its sect in a fierce battle in Sambisa forest. Troop commanders on Wednesday said hundreds of Boko Haram insurgents were killed in hours of gun battle. At least one soldier was also killed while 4 others were injured in the onslaught. Acting Director Army Public Relations Colonel Sani Usman, who made this known to newsmen in a statement, said 2 major combat tanks and high-caliber ammunition used by the Boko Haram terrorists were recovered while many others were destroyed. Members of the sect have reportedly battled in vain to retain 9 major camps in the dreaded Sambisa forest. The 293 women rescued by the military in the Boko Haram notorious hideout of Sambisa Forest are from Bumsiri village in Damboa local government area of Borno State. Commissioner for Information Dr. Mohammed Bulama told journalists that the profiling of the 200 girls and 93 women rescued by the military on Tuesday showed that they were abducted from Bumsiri village and not from Chibok, as widely speculated. The military is yet to issue a formal statement on the identity and origin of the women. It's still not known when these girls and women were taken and for how long they have been in captivity. The military still has to complete a screening and profiling operation. Sambisa Forest has served as a hideout for Boko Haram, the deadly insurgent group that has killed nearly 20,000 people, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. The Nigerian government has asked the Indonesian government to repatriate the remains of the 4 Nigerians executed for drug-related offenses. In a statement on Wednesday in Abuja, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the request was made to ensure that the executed persons could be accorded proper burials in their various communities. Despite global calls for clemency, the 4 Nigerians, Martin Adamson, Okwidili Oyatanze, Jaminu Abashi and Sylvester Obiekwe were executed on Tuesday by 12-man firing squad in Indonesia for drug-related offenses. Aside from them, others executed were Australians Muyiran Shukumaran and Andre Chan, Brazilian Rodrigo Gulate and Indonesia's Zainab Mahmoud. Defending the executions, Indonesia said it was fighting a war on drugs and so refuses all clemency applications from convicted drug traffickers. Nigeria's President-elect Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated a 9-member transition committee as part of effort to ensure a smooth transition process. The committee, which was inaugurated on Wednesday in Abuja, will partner with a similar committee set up by President Goodluck Jonathan. Ahmed Joda was named as the chairman of the committee. Speaking at the inauguration, Buhari charged the committee to access the information provided to them and advise him on its quality and accuracy. An Igbo delegate in northern parts of the country has urged Nigerian President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari to redeem his promises to Igbos in all parts of the country that voted him into power. Leader of the Igbo Delegates Assembly in 19 northern states, Damian Sani Nyama, called on the president to allow include the Igbo people in his government.
You have held many leadership positions in our country as a president-elect. You were once a military governor, Minister of Petroleum Resources, Head of States, and Chairman of Petroleum Transport PPF. In all these assignments, you distinguish yourself as an honest, fair and firm leader. You abhor tribalism because you love Nigeria and Nigerians. We feel to tell you, our leader, that indeed in the East appreciate you. They also yearn for a change. Many voted for you. Please carry them along at least to prove to them that we in the North are not wrong when we told them that you will treat our people the same way you will treat the people of Katsina State. On behalf of the executive and entire members of Igbo Delegates Assembly IDA, we heartily congratulate Your Excellency for your victory. We are indeed happy to be part of this history.
A wave of fuel scarcity has hit the metropolitan city of Lagos, southwest Nigeria. The scarcity left dozens of people stranded as transportation and fuel prices rose. It comes just a day after the expiration of the 3-day deadline given by Major Marketers Association of Nigeria (MOMAN) to stop lifting petroleum products due to debts owed by them by the federal government. The petroleum marketers warned of the scarcity of petrol if the federal government fails to pay their outstanding subsidy. Still on oil marketers, the federal government says a sum of 156 billion naira will be given to oil marketers as payment for fuel subsidy. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said the outstanding payment will be made on Thursday. She expressed concern over the fuel scarcity witnessed in some parts of the country, saying the government is working hard to end the scarcity within the shortest time possible. She said despite the revenue challenges facing the government, the issue of the fuel subsidy payment to oil marketers had always been prioritized by the federal government. The oil marketers put the aggregate subsidy arrears owned by them by the federal government at 200 billion naira. President Goodluck Jonathan has sacked the managing director of the Nigerian Port Authority, Habib Abdullahi, appointing Sanusi Lamido Adobayero as the new managing director of the organization. According to a statement issued by presidential spokesman Ruben Obati, Adobayero is expected to take full charge of the running of NPA with immediate effect. No reason was given by the president for the sack. As part of its effort to reform Nigeria's telecommunications sector, the federal government has officially handed over the Nigerian Telecommunication PLC NITEL and Nigerian Mobile Telecommunications NITEL to its preferred bidder, the NATCOM consortium. The handover ceremony, which was done in Abuja, was carried out after 5 failed attempts to privatize the companies.
Following the disqualification of NETAG consortium as a result of its failure to submit a bid bond together with a technical proposal, only the financial bid of NATCOM consortium was opened. NATCOM's first bid of $220 million was below the reserve price, and with a revised bid of 252 million, 250, I think that's a mistake here. Yeah, 251,000. Okay, I mean, we're not going to ask you to pay more. It's 251, okay?
Yes, 251.
221 million dollars. NATCOM consortium was declared the preferred bidder. That too should be explained. After the bids have been opened, if the bid is below the reserve price, the preferred bidder is invited to up his bid, as we cannot afford to sell public property at below the minimum price we are advised to. And thank God, NATCOM had the muscle to do it.
Planning is going on, and I can tell you that Nigerians will be proud, Nigerians will be gainer for it. We will once again bring back landline to this country.
So what are the first 3 things you would like to do?
The first thing is what we are doing now, which is planning, and the commitment we have is to deliver value and to create a more enterprising environment and make Nigerians to have alternative choices that now exist in the space.
Thank you. Sir, I would expect lines and other services that NITEL used to provide before.
I can assure you, you'll get even much more than what it used to provide before, including the landline.
Including
the landline.
Okay.
Yes.
And the public booths.
I can assure you, technology has moved further from where it used to be. But what we are telling you and the commitment we are giving Nigerians is that we will bring to you latest technologies that you can find anywhere in the world.
Based on our assessment of their submission and our assessment of their financial capabilities and the technical partners they have in their team, PCCW Ericsson, who is an expert in network rollout, we believe that they will stand their own ground. There are also portions of the telecommunications spectrum of services that are not fully available in Nigeria, like the landlines, like the broadband capabilities. These are all areas that if NATCOM exploited and improved the fiber optic network they have, that they should be able to compete effectively and probably even be a carrier of other networks moving forward.
The French ambassador to Nigeria denies Goa has said the bilateral relationship between his country and Nigeria has gotten stronger over the past few years. While paying a visit to Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja, he however pledged to further strengthen the ties between the two countries.
Well, we had also a small discussion about our bilateral relations between France and Nigeria. As you may know, that relationship developed quite well in the recent years. In the economical field, Nigeria is already the first commercial partner of France in Africa. We have quite a strong presence of French companies in Nigeria. We are encouraging them, of course, to come more to Nigeria, to invest here, to establish partnerships with Nigerian companies. We have also the French Development Agency, AFD, which is present here and ready to contribute to financing development projects. And then, of course, our relationship developed also in the field of security and regional security. Boko Haram has become a terrible threat for Nigeria, but also for the neighboring countries. And so since especially last year's summit meeting in Paris in May last year, France has worked a lot for better cooperation and collaboration among the countries in the region, and also work with the Nigerian armed forces in terms of exchange of information to contribute to the common fight against that terrorist threat. And I of course expressed our willingness to continue in the same direction with the same objective of eliminating definitively that terrorist threat in Nigeria and in the region.
The University of Lagos has announced employment for first-class degree graduates in the university. Delivering his convocation speech at the second phase of the 2014 graduation ceremony, Vice-Chancellor Professor Rahman Adebelo said the school has approved employment for the two best graduating students. He explained that the gesture would enable the retention of some of the institution's best brain in the system while fostering PhD training at the university. We'll take a short break right now. When we come back, News Now continues.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down. Explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. Following the directive given by Central Bank of Nigeria to deposit money banks to publish the list of debtors who have remained non-performing, Bank Development and Project Officer Olusegun Akanji has called on customers to be committed to their financial obligations to ensure continuous safety of the banking sector.
In every economy, there is always, particularly economies that is focused, or economies that are focused on building sound practices of financial services delivery, there are always framework for ensuring that people commit to their obligations. Now, where in a situation where people do not commit to their obligations and you still have to deliver financial services, which is like the life wire of resource distribution in any economy, wealth distribution in any economy. So if certain people continue to either deliberately or sometimes they may be challenged, but do not demonstrate commitment to their obligation, then you need to put in place certain things that will enforce obligatory commitment. So we see that across every economy. So we've seen countries like India, Malaysia, and a few others publish names of lenders, defaulters. Now, as long as you do not criminalize borrowing, because now there is a thin line between putting in some form of sanctions or trying to expose defaulters and then creating a system that make people to have a view that you have criminalized borrowing, because that eventually affects economic development. So I do not see this as wrong. However, who do you really publish? Are you publishing people that are serial defaulters, who go to banks all over the place and then they are exposed all over the place and do not want to pay, even when they have capacity to pay, or the people that genuinely have crisis in their business and therefore that resulted in default? Now, we need to be able to create a system that helps to govern how this is managed. Now, the people you want to penalize are those that are turn themselves to either serial defaulters or who have capacity in one form or the other to demonstrate commitment to their obligation, are very much unwilling to do so. In that case, then you need to create a platform where you penalize them. In fact, some countries have gone ahead beyond just publishing the names to also blacklisting them from enjoying financial services going forward. So this is something we need to look at, but carefully. We have to do that carefully.
Akanji also said banks need to do a proper investigation on customers before lending them money.
When you want to come to borrow, rather than just come into the bank, you want to understand the kind of money you want to borrow. You need a lot of education. People sometimes ask for loans or seek out loans, or even sometimes banks deliver loans to customers without educating them. Because some customers just come to the bank to go to their banks, and they just say, I want this kind of loan. And they seem to be so sure this is what they wanted. And some bankers do not further probe to ensure that this is what the customer really needs. Now, if you do not engage a bit of customer education to see that, look, you don't need an overdraft. You need a term loan or a time loan, or you just need an equipment finance, or you need working capital, or you need or some other form of structured financing or structured loan, or we need to even take an advisory view of your business and look at people that can put in equity into your business so we could talk to them, or some other structure that helps the business to actually benefit and have value integrated or injected into it. So now that means customers, when they come to the bank, they come for the right reasons. Right people with genuine businesses will always borrow to do their business. That's why I said the caution is that while you are doing this, ensure that you segregate that from criminalizing borrowing. Because as soon as you create a view of criminalizing borrowing or you criminalize lending, then you are creating a major crisis in the economy that can go into employment, a lack of employment generation, into reduction in capacity utilization in industry, and a lot more and a lot more and a lot more.
Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, says he plans to quadruple the supply of gas to Nigeria by building pipelines using two of the world's biggest private equity firms. The Nigerian, who has a net worth of $15 billion, says he will invest $2.2 billion to $2.5 billion in two subsea 550 kilometers pipelines running from the Niger Delta to the commercial hub of Lagos. The The 58-year-old business mogul said the pipelines will increase the amount of gas available in Africa's biggest economy to 4 billion standard cubic feet per day from 1 billion. The two companies that will carry out this project are Kalili Group LP and Blackstone Group LP. Aid has begun to reach remote regions near the epicenter of Saturday's devastating earthquake in Nepal. As relief efforts continue in the Kathmandu Valley, the UN says the response is broadening to include areas such as Dangin and Gokha. The 7.8 quake has claimed more than 5,000 lives. Many survivors remain in desperate need of food and water. Rescue operations resumed on Wednesday following bad weather. A 15-year-old boy was pulled out of the rubble alive after being trapped for 5 days. More than 8 million people have been affected by the quake. The UN says about 10,000 people have been injured. France is investigating allegations that its peacekeepers sexually abused children in the Central African Republic after a leaked UN report said victims as young as 8 were raped in exchange for food and money. The Defense Ministry said the French government was made aware at the end of July 2014 by the UN's High Commission for Human Rights of accusations by children that have been sexually abused by French soldiers. An investigation was opened shortly by the Paris prosecutors. The Defense Ministry vowed to take measures to ensure that the truth be found and said the strongest penalties will be imposed on those found responsible. The abuse was alleged by around 10 children and reportedly took place at a center for displaced people near the airport of the capital Bangui between December 2013 and June 2014. In our sport news, Nigeria's Super Falcons will be the first Nigerian team to use a new night kit in a competitive game when they lock hands with Mali in an Olympics qualifying match in Abuja on May 9. The Nigeria Football Federation on Tuesday confirmed the planned unveiling of the jersey. The Nigerian Secretary of the Federation, Muhammad Sanusi, urged the Super Eagles Falcons to launch a jersey in style by beating Mali with a heavy scoreline. World-leading brand Nike will supply kits to the value of $750,000 to the various national teams of Nigeria and the first year of the contract recently signed by the Nigerian Football Federation. Details of the contract show that the product value would increase in the second year. The company is supplying kits worth over $1 million to the Nigeria teams. The 3.5-year contract was signed by NFF President Amaju Pinnick and General Secretary Muhammad Sanusi. Spanish footballing giants Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have both denied reports that either clubs are set to be hit by a transfer ban from world's football governing body FIFA. Reports emanating from the Spanish media earlier Wednesday morning suggested that the Madrid rivals will be hit with a possible transfer ban from the next 2 windows over breaches of rules on the signing of overseas under-18 players. However, representatives of both clubs have quickly moved to diffuse the rumors, claiming there were no wrongdoings in any of the transfer dealings in the past years. If both clubs are banned, they will be the second and third Spanish clubs, respectively, to be hit with the FIFA ban after La Liga giants Barcelona were banned from 2 transfer windows following the breach of rules of the signing of overseas under-18 players. And that ends the news on News Now on TV360. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tina Adesalami.